Hi, I'm Mitch with Youth English School. Welcome to this lesson on some useful and common phrases for English communication. This kind of training will help you improve your English no matter why you're studying it, whether you're planning to study abroad, preparing for tests like the IELTS, or just looking to improve your spoken English. Today we're looking at requests and replies, invitations, and suggestions. But before I begin, I'd like to start with a joke. Do you know any jokes in English? You do? Jokes are a lot of fun. I have some alphabet jokes. Do you know the English alphabet? You know, the ABCs? Yeah, so these are jokes about the letters in the English alphabet. Okay, you ready? Here we go. What letter in the English alphabet is not me? You. You. And that sounds like Y-O-U. So that's the joke. Do you get it? Okay, you ready for one more? What letter in the English alphabet is a vegetable? A vegetable. It's small and green. P. P. P-E-A. Sounds like P-E-A. Okay, I'll have some more alphabet or letter jokes for you later in the lesson. Let's begin with some requests and replies in English. As you can see, these requests are polite. You know, when you're polite in English, when you're asking for something, we usually do it in a polite way, using could you, and would you, which is a modal, right? Could you please pass the salt? Or could you pass the salt, please? Yeah, sure. So this is the request, and of course, this is the reply. Could I possibly borrow your dictionary? Yes, help yourself. Yeah, take it. Sure. Let's move on. What do you think this is? Do you think this is a request or an invitation and suggestion? That's right. It's another request because you're asking for something, right? You're asking for something. Do you think you could possibly lend me 2 or 3 pounds? Money, English, money is pounds. Yeah, sure. Or the negative, right? Yeah, sure means, okay, I can do that. But if you don't want to do that, to loan someone money, you also want to be polite. Be nice, right? No, I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid I can't. No, I'm afraid not. I haven't got any money on me. I haven't got any money. So remember, you can have a positive reply and also a negative reply. You can say yes or no. It's up to you, right? Next slide. Another request. I was wondering if I could possibly leave work half an hour early today. Now, you don't have to use this, possibly. I was wondering if I could leave work early today. I was wondering if I could possibly, right? Makes it a little more polite. Yeah, no problem. Or, no, it's a bit difficult, actually. Actually, it's a bit difficult. We need you to stay at work today. Sorry, we need you to stay. Then you can give a reason because we're very busy and we have lots of work to do. Okay? So this looks like a cool boss, a nice boss. And this looks like a mean boss or a grumpy boss. He's not very happy today. Let's move on. More invitations and replies. Let's keep going. Would you like to go out this evening? Would you like to go out this evening? Again, the modal, M-O-D-A-L, modal, would, just like could, is a polite way to ask someone to do something for you or to also to make an invitation, right? Invitations. Yeah, great. I'd love to. Or no, sorry, I can't. So these are examples of invitations, right? Invitations. We're going to a restaurant and we were wondering if you'd like to come with us. We were wondering if you'd like to join us. The reply, I'd love to, but I can't. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid I can't. I've got to, right? I've got to write an essay. Or I'm an American, so I might say I have to. I have to do something else. Now we're moving on to suggestions here, right? Which is very similar. It's a question, but it's a little different. Suggestions are when it's also just another way to invite someone to do something or to have an idea about something that you'd like to do. What shall we do tonight? What shall we do tonight? Where shall we go this evening? This is more of a British English kind of an expression, fancy. I'm an American, so I don't really use fancy too much in my English. You'll see some differences in the language between American English and British English that way. What do you fancy doing this evening? What do you fancy doing this evening? And of course, this is when maybe you're not really sure what you'd like to do. You think you'd like to go out and do something fun. You're not really sure. So you're suggesting, but you're really also asking someone to kind of help you decide what to do. More expressions, right? These are common expressions and phrases that we use all the time in everyday English when we're making plans and deciding what we'd like to do, maybe in our free time. What about going to a cinema or going to the cinema? So this is the reply to the suggestion. How about going to the cinema? Perhaps we could just get a pizza or something like that. Why don't we try that new club in the main square? So these are replies to that sort of suggestion, giving a response and maybe giving kind of a suggestion back. Hey, let's do this. What do you think about this? Why don't we do this? This is more British down here. Do you fancy going to that Italian restaurant? Do you fancy going there tonight? Okay, we're going to look more specifically at some replies, how to use replies when you're using this kind of language and speaking English with someone. There are positive replies, positive. There are neutral replies, not positive, and not negative. So this is kind of in the middle. If you have a positive response, a positive reply, this is some language you could use. Yeah, great. Yeah, fine. Yeah, that's a good idea. That sounds great. If you're neutral, it means you're not really that excited about it. You just feel like it's something that you could do, that you might like to try. Yeah, if you like, or yeah, I don't mind. I'll try that. I'll do that. A negative response, what does that mean? What do you think? It means you just don't really want to do that, right? I think I'd rather stay in and watch TV. I do this a lot. I like to stay in and watch TV. But it also can give you a chance to politely say that you don't want to do that. Okay, next slide. We're going to move on now to some exercises to give you a chance to practice your English with me in this lesson. I'm going to do the first couple of exercises with you. Most of these exercises are fill in the blank, right? Fill in the word. Or maybe you might have to take out a word. Or you might have to change the verb in the sentence. So there are a few things to take a look at. I'll give you some time to look over these, but we'll do the first two together. Do you like to go out this evening? Do you like to go out this evening? Of course, this should be would, the modal, to make it polite, right? When you make a suggestion like that. I'm afraid, but I haven't got any money. I'm afraid, but I haven't got any money. What do you take out there? We don't need but there. Take that out. I'm afraid I haven't got any money. What does that mean? That means you can't go out. Okay, I'll give you some time to look at these and do these exercises right now in the video, there at home or wherever you're watching, okay? How did you do? This is really very basic English, very common types of expressions that we use. And the mistakes are generally pretty easy to correct. We'll go through these together and I'll give you the answers. That's okay. I'll pay. How about, did you catch that one? What should you change there? That's right. That should be ing. How about going to see a film? You need the ing here, right? No, I don't think. I think I'd rather to stay in and do my homework. I think I'd rather to stay. So they're looking at grammar here, different ways to use these kinds of words. Go and stay. These are verbs, right? So you have to be careful with how you use your verbs to make a good sentence when you're speaking. Why you don't do your homework this afternoon? What's the mistake there? No, you. We don't need that you there. Why don't you do your homework this afternoon? That is a suggestion, right? I'm busy this afternoon. I'm busy this afternoon. No question mark needed. That's not a question. That's a statement. I'm busy this afternoon. Okay, we could go tomorrow. Yeah, great. Right. What film shall we see? For me, it's the same. For me, it's the same. This is kind of an interesting reply here. There are a couple of ways that you can answer that. You can say, I don't mind, but you can also use an idiom or an idiomatic expression there. It's all the same to me. It's all the same to me, which means you don't really mind, you don't really care what you do. Let's continue. Complete the dialogues with a suitable word. Suitable. What does that mean? A word that matches, right? A word that matches. Contractions, e.g. isn't, count as one word. Now remember, when you're practicing your English, to use contractions as much as you can, because that's natural English. It's more friendly and more casual. So use contractions whenever possible, right? Okay. Here's a question. What kind of question is this? It's a request. That's right. It's a request. Could you possibly open that window? It's very hot in here. And believe me, it's very hot in this room right now. I wish we could open the window. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, sure, no problem, right? No problem. Yeah, sure. I can do that for you. Yeah, sure, no problem. That's a good reply if you're happy to help that person. Okay, take a look at the rest of these, and I'll give you about 20 seconds. Okay, let's go over these answers together. I'll help you and take you right through. Number 2, Clive and Sally are here at the moment, and we were wondering if you'd like to come over for a meal this evening. We were wondering if you'd like to come over for a meal this evening. This to me is not really a question, but when I say that, it doesn't sound like a question, but it actually is. Yes, I'd love to. Yes, I'd love to. I'd like to. When it's a positive response, like and love are two great words to use there. What do you? Well, that's that British word. Remember the word from England? Fancy. What do you fancy doing this evening? What do you fancy doing this evening? Now, as an American, I might simply say, what would you like to do this evening? What would you like to do? I don't know. I don't know really. Any ideas? Why don't we go to the cinema? You haven't been for ages, or we haven't been for ages. Yeah, that's a great idea here. Okay? Next slide, number 4. I'll also give you a chance to take a look at these on your own. Let's do the first one together, okay? Where shall we go on Saturday? Where shall we go? Now again, this is more British English. Americans typically don't really use shall so much. Where do you want to go? Where would you like to go on Saturday? Shall is a very English or British word. Good. Take a look at the rest of the sentences. See if you can fill those in with the correct words and phrases. I'll be right back. Okay. How did you do? Keep going. I know you're doing great. Practice, practice, practice. Remember, practice makes perfect whenever you're learning a language, right? So keep going. You're doing great. Let's look at these answers. How about going to the beach if the weather's nice? How about going to the beach? Oh yeah, we could try that new sports center. Yes, we could try that new sports center just outside of town. That means go to, check it out, visit, go see and take a look at that sports center. I think I'd rather go to the beach. Yeah, okay, if you want to. What would you like to do? This needs at as well, or on the weekend. What would you like to do at or on the weekend? I don't know. You decide. Respond to each of these requests, invitations, and suggestions. Could I borrow a pen for a minute? What would you say there? Could I borrow a pen for a minute? Remember, you could have a positive response or a negative response. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry, I don't have a pen. I don't have a pen. You try these, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Let's take a look at some good answers. Do you think you could post a letter for me? What's the answer there? Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem, right? Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. Or, I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't have time. I don't have time right now. That would be a negative response. I was wondering if you've got a suitcase you could lend me. I was wondering if you've got a suitcase you could lend me. Now, if you have a suitcase, if you own a suitcase, you can say, sure, yeah, no problem. If you don't own a suitcase, if you don't have one, then you want to be polite and say, I'm sorry, I don't have a suitcase. I don't have one I can lend you. D, would you like to go out this evening? Would you like to go out this evening? Yeah, sure, I'd love to. Or, no, sorry, I'm busy tonight, or I don't have time. I've got some tickets for a concert. Do you fancy coming with me? Or would you like to come with me? Yeah, sure, great, I'd love to. Or, I'm afraid I'm busy, or I'm afraid not. I've got something else I have to do. You could also say here, if you'd like, if you don't mind, or I don't mind, if you'd like, that's okay. One more page before we finish the lesson. How about going to a football match at the weekend? What do you think? What would you say? What would your reply be? You can have a positive response or a negative response here. Take a look at those. How did you do on those? Are you getting the feel for this kind of language? Requests, invitations, and suggestions. How about going to a football match? Sure, I'd love to. Why don't we meet this afternoon and practice our English for an hour? What do you think? If you have time, sure. I can do that. I'd like that. If you don't have time, you can give that negative response. We could invite some other people from our English class to meet us as well. Yeah, that sounds great, like a great idea. Or, yeah, okay, I don't mind. I know you're busy, but could you help me with this essay? Sure, no problem. Or, I'm sorry, I just don't have time right now. I'm afraid not. Do you fancy going to the cinema? Yeah, I'd love to. I love movies. I'd love to join you at the cinema. Or, I'd love to, but I'm busy. I can't go to the cinema right now. So what did we learn today? Well, we looked at some common and useful expressions and phrases for requests, invitations, and suggestions. I hope you enjoyed my lesson and were able to practice and improve your English with me today. Remember to check out the quiz at the end of the video. My name's Mitch with Youth English School. Thanks for joining me, and see you next time.